Shalom, or peace and blessing, guys. Hopefully, y'all can hear me. I have a headset on, so I'm trying something different. Um, this video will probably be brief. It's not going to be long because I'm just answering a question. In fact, I'm actually trying to do um, multiple videos within the next 2 hours on just answering questions that I have received through my email and just common conversation with different women and different families that I've come across. So, bless you guys. Hopefully, y'all can hear me. And if you do have any other questions, you can feel free to put them in the chat. My chat is pulled up. So, also, if you know anybody who would actually benefit from hearing the answers or the tips that I'm going to give you regarding this topic, please share. Because I want as much information that I give to be put out there to not only just our sisters, but just the general public, because there are a lot of genuine hearted people who actually want to do things the right way. And that information just isn't afforded to them. So if you know anybody who would benefit from this video and the other videos that I will be putting out directly after this one, please share. Okay, so the question is Padsicles. Should I use them or should I not during postpartum healing process? And I'm just going to give you my personal experience on actually using them. Most of my videos are mainly all of my videos are mainly on personal experience with labor, with conception, with pregnancy, with delivery, and with healing. That's on everything I talk about. I've either used it or I've created and formulated and I've used it. So I don't recommend anything that I haven't done already. And so that's the good thing about my videos. I'm not sure if anyone else does that. I hope that they do give you recommendations based off of their personal experience or their testimonies with dealing with those items instead of just fabricating anything. But then you may have some people who just don't do it like that. So, Padsicles. I recommend that if you're going to do the Padsicles, that you do it after the 4th day. And this is mainly for mothers who do not use any medications. They don't use any over-the-counter drugs that would actually remove pains. And this is for mothers who have more than one child. Generally, after you have your first baby, you don't experience as much pain with your uterus shrinking down. What normally happens is after each child, your uterus shrinks. When your uterus begins to shrink, it seems like it shrinks faster and faster. And so the contractions is what I call them, or some people refer to them as cramps. They're more intense. So for me, labor is not so much of more intense for me. It's the healing process that's more intense for me. And so if this is your first child, a Padsicle may work for you before the days that I recommend for you using them. But if it is not your first child and you go on to have your second child, your third child, your fourth child, you're going to notice that you're going to feel the intensity of those contractions a lot more after the delivery of the baby for the shrinking of your uterus. So your uterus is like trying to go from this huge size back down to the size of your fist. And what tends to happen is if you use the Padsicle right after, in between the day 1 and day 4, if the coolness or the ice part hits the perineum, what happens is it causes those nerve endings to contract, and it sends a signal to the uterus to contract, and so it'll actually activate those cramps or those contractions to continue to intensify, and it makes it less pleasant for you. So normally what would happen is your uterus would only contract during nursing or during the rubbing to get your uterus to go back down. But with that coolness, that cold ice pack will do is it's actually going to shock the nerves in the perineum, which is going to shock the uterus, and then the uterus is going to go, and then it's like it's more intense than it regularly doing it. So I always say wait until maybe the fourth day, the third or fourth day, once those contractions of the uterus shrinking has lessened, and then use those Padsicles if that's what you desire to do. Um, but if you have, most mothers develop hemorrhoids or they develop tearing. And what I recommend and what I normally prepare for myself and for my birth kits is I make a hemorrhoid salve or a hemorrhoid cream, and I make a vulva cooling gel. And what I also make is just some witch hazel and aloe vera with key essential oils like tea tree and a little bit of peppermint oil. And I make a jar, which when I go home, because I'm not home right now, I'm in the city. When I go home, I'll actually bring that up on video too to show you what I make, because it's really simple. You can go to the dollar store and you can get those they're like little circle little pads that, like, I think they use for when they're taking makeup off their face. But I buy those and I get a mason jar and I put a whole stack of them in a mason jar, and I fill the mason jar um, maybe about 1/4. Well, maybe half. But I'll start at 1/4 and shake it up. I'll fill it with witch hazel. I'll fill it with aloe vera juice, and then add the essential oils, and then I just shake it up until all of those pads are soaked, and it kind of mimics what your tux. What you would buy in the store. It mimics what the tux will do. And I use that instead. So if you have a tear, use that instead of going immediately to the Padsicles. Use that to cleanse, or use that to set in the bottom of your dry pad. If it's your cloth pad or your disposable pad, use that, put that down there, and then you can put it on the hemorrhoids as well. But the vulva cooling gel and the hemorrhoid cream helps out a lot with the healing for those first 3 to 4 days, so that you're able to get through the shrinking down of your uterus, without having to put ice down there, because the ice will shock. It will shock the perineum, and it will cause very intense pain with shrinking down. I mean, and that intense contraction, if it's shocked by that coldness, it's going to last for about a minute and a half. Okay, it's not going to be quick. It's going to be like a minute and a half. It's kind of like when you shock your teeth. What do they call it? Like brain freeze, and it's like, "Ah!" So it's the same thing. Your uterus is doing that, like. "Ah!" So I don't recommend you using the Padsicles until your fourth day. By then, the fourth day, you should be able to just slip it out and do it really quick. And also, your perineum have already started the healing process with you continuing to use the witch hazel pads, your hemorrhoid cream, or your vulva cooling gel. Using those like a spray or oil is going to be a lot more beneficial than actually sitting on that Padsicle. Now, if you're going to use any type of Padsicle or any type of ice, I would prefer that it just be used for your rectum area if you do have hemorrhoids. Um, so I think that was the main thing. So I hope I answered your question and your concern. So I recommend by the fourth day. that if you're going to use Padsicles, use it on the fourth day. And then neem oil. Neem oil is good too. You can rub it down there. It's not the best smelling, but it does have a lot of healing properties, and it's soothing. So that's my take on whether or not you should use Padsicles. And I thought that I should let y'all know that so you don't do it and then experience that shock and you're like, ah, what is this? I thought they said this was good. It's good, but it's just a time frame on when you want to do it. So after the fourth day, you can use your Padsicles, especially if this is a multiple. This is your multiple time giving birth. If it's your first child, most of the time, mothers of first time moms normally don't experience the amount of intensity with their uterus shrinking down as mothers who have many children, such as myself. Like, I didn't even notice any type of contractions or pains until after I had my second son, because I didn't have any medications. Um, After having my second son, I refused them. I just know after I had my first son, they had gave me Tylenol. I was like, oh, I don't know. Well, okay, I guess I can take a Tylenol. I just kind of followed along with the doctor said with my first son as far as pain relief after. I did not do an epidural or anything like that, but I did do Tylenol after having my son. And so I never felt any type of shrinking down of my uterus ever. But when I refused medication with my second son after the birth, I felt it, and I felt it hard. So I hope that helped you guys. Let me see what's up here. So, yep, my sister, that's exactly what that shock was. And they don't tell you that. So that cold sensation, it will shock your uterus. The perineum sends that signal, and then everything, all it knows is to just crumble like a ball. And it's going to be like that until that cold sensation wears off. So, yes, that's what the Padsicles will do. So you definitely want to wait until after the fourth day. I think the fourth day, by day four, the contracting uterus has kind of calmed down. Now you'll still have the contractions because it's pushing everything out. Um, Whatever residue may have been left. Some people have bits and pieces of the amniotic sac still in there, so there's clots in there that have to pass. So you're still going to have contractions with the shrinking down, but it won't be as intense. So then you can use the Padsicles once you make it past day 4. Day 5, you're pretty much, hallelujah, you're pretty much good. All you really need is like your little hot pack or whatever. But day 4 is what I recommend. So bless y'all. Hopefully that helped you. And I'll be back with another video. Peace and blessings.